Have you ever walked into a room and felt a palpable sense of respect directed at someone? It's not about their title, their wealth, or their clothes. It's something deeper, an aura of quiet confidence and unshakable integrity. They speak and others listen. They act and others trust. This is the power of genuine respect, a currency more valuable than gold, earned not demanded, and built not found. Now, have you ever felt the opposite? The subtle dismissal, the lack of weight given to your words, the feeling of being overlooked. It's a deeply unsettling experience, one that can erode our confidence and make us question our own worth. We all desire respect, yet many of us unknowingly engage in behaviors that actively repel it, sabotaging our relationships and our reputation without even realizing it. We build our own prisons of disrespect, brick by brick, with habits we mistake for harmless quirks. Today, we are going to dismantle those prisons. We will journey into the heart of Stoic wisdom to uncover the 6 most corrosive habits that will guarantee you are never truly respected. These aren't just minor faux pas. They are fundamental flaws in character that signal to the world that you do not respect yourself and therefore are not worthy of the respect of others. And if you stay with me until the end, I will share with you an ancient story of an encounter between the most powerful man in the world and a philosopher who owned nothing, a tale that reveals the ultimate source of unshakable respect. The first and perhaps most common saboteur of respect is the habit of constant complaining. The complainer is a vortex of negativity, sucking the energy out of every room they enter. To them, the world is a series of unfortunate events, a conspiracy of inconvenience designed specifically to ruin their day. The coffee is too cold, the traffic is too slow, the boss is too demanding, the work is too hard. Their conversation is a litany of grievances, a broadcast of their own powerlessness. Why does this behavior annihilate respect? Because at its core, complaining is an abdication of responsibility. It is a declaration that you are a victim of your circumstances, a puppet whose strings are pulled by external forces beyond your control. A person who commands respect operates from a completely different mindset. They possess a deep sense of personal agency. When faced with a challenge, their first thought is not, "Whom can I blame?" but "What is my next move?" They instinctively focus their energy, their intellect, and their will on what they can directly influence: their own actions, their own efforts, and their own responses. If a project is difficult, they break it down into manageable steps. If a colleague is uncooperative, they focus on improving their own communication. If they fail, they don't lament their bad luck. They analyze their mistakes and extract the lesson. They are agents, not objects, drivers, not passengers. As the great Stoic emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote to himself, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." The complainer sees only the wall. The respected individual sees a way to climb it. To reclaim respect, you must first reclaim your agency. Stop narrating your problems and start authoring your solutions. The second habit that instantly dissolves respect is the insidious act of gossip and speaking ill of others behind their backs. This behavior is a poison that not only damages the reputation of its target, but also irrevocably stains the character of the person spreading it. When you gossip, you may feel a fleeting sense of superiority or inclusion, a temporary bond forged in shared negativity. But what is the message you are actually sending to those who are listening? You are telling them loud and clear, "This is how I will speak of you when you are not in the room." You are demonstrating that you are untrustworthy, that your loyalty is conditional, and that your words have no integrity. Respect is built on a foundation of trust. Without trust, there can be no genuine connection, no reliable partnership, no true leadership. Every time you share a negative story about someone who isn't present, you are taking a sledgehammer to that foundation. The listener may smile and nod. They may even contribute to the conversation. But a seed of doubt has been planted. They will be more guarded around you, less likely to confide in you, and fundamentally, they will not respect you. They see you not as a confident individual, but as someone who needs to diminish others in order to feel significant. The Stoics held the virtue of justice in the highest regard. This wasn't just about laws and fairness in the public square. It was about treating every individual with the appropriate respect and dignity. Gossiping is a profound act of injustice. It is passing judgment without a trial, spreading accusations without evidence, and assassinating a person's character without giving them a chance to defend themselves. The great Stoic teacher Seneca wisely noted, "I shall keep watching myself, and, what is a most useful habit, I shall review my day. For this is what makes us wicked, that none of us looks back over our own life. Our thoughts are devoted only to what we are about to do, and yet our plans for the future descend from the past." A person worthy of respect applies this introspection to their speech. Before they speak of others, they pause, they ask themselves, is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? Is this something I would say if that person were standing right here? More often than not, the gossip we are tempted to share fails this simple test. A person of character concerns themselves with their own actions, their own duties, their own improvement. They are too busy building their own house to spend their time throwing stones at others. Their silence about the faults of others speaks volumes about their own self-possession and integrity. If you want to earn respect, use your words to build, to encourage, and to solve problems. When you speak of others, let it be with fairness and compassion. Let people know that their reputation is safe with you. This is the hallmark of a trustworthy and respectable individual. Third on our list of respect-destroying habits is breaking promises and being fundamentally unreliable. A person's word is the bedrock of their character. It is the primary tool through which we build relationships, conduct business, and create a stable society. When you give your word, whether it's a promise to a friend, a deadline to a colleague, or a commitment to yourself, you are making a sacred contract. You are saying, you can count on me, I am dependable. Each time you honor that contract, you add a layer to the foundation of trust. Each time you break it, you don't just chip away at that foundation. You detonate a charge beneath it. The unreliable person is a source of constant chaos and disappointment. They say, I'll be there at 8 and show up at 8:30 with a flimsy excuse. They promise to deliver the report by Friday, and on Monday, it's still nowhere to be seen. They commit to a new habit, a new project, a new leaf, only to abandon it at the first sign of difficulty. Their life is a trail of broken commitments and let down people. The world quickly learns that their words are weightless, their intentions fleeting, and a person whose word has no weight cannot possibly be respected. Respect requires a belief in someone's consistency and integrity. The unreliable person has neither. The Stoics understood that living a virtuous life meant living in accordance with nature, and a key part of this was living in a way that was consistent and rational. Your actions should align with your words, and your words should align with your values. Seneca the Younger wrote extensively on the importance of keeping one's word, viewing it as a duty not just to others, but to oneself. He argued that a broken promise is a form of self-harm, an admission that your will is weak and your character is fractured. He stated, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult." The unreliable person does not dare to hold themselves to a standard. They choose the easy path of empty words over the more difficult, but ultimately rewarding path of consistent action. To build respect, you must become a fortress of dependability. This begins with being ruthlessly honest with yourself about your capabilities. Do not say yes when you mean maybe or no. It is far more respectable to politely decline a request you cannot fulfill than to agree and fail to deliver. Under-promise and over-deliver. Guard your commitments as you would your most valuable possession. When you give your word, let it be an unbreakable bond. This applies not only to big promises, but to the small, everyday ones as well. Be on time. Answer the email. Do what you said you would do. Each fulfilled promise, no matter how small, is a deposit in the bank of trust. Over time, these deposits compound, and you will build a reputation as someone of immense integrity, a person whose word is as good as gold. This is the kind of person who earns unwavering respect. The fourth behavior that acts as a repellent to respect is the desperate and unending search for external validation. The person who constantly needs approval from others is like a ship without a rudder, tossed about by the changing winds of public opinion. Their sense of self-worth is not anchored within, but is outsourced to the fleeting praise and criticism of the crowd. They change their opinions to match the most popular person in the room. They fish for compliments, measure their success by likes and shares, and crumble in the face of the slightest disapproval. Their entire emotional state is a reflection of how others see them, making them unpredictable, insecure, and ultimately difficult to respect. Why is this so damaging? Because a person who does not respect their own judgment cannot earn the respect of others. If you are constantly looking to others to tell you who you are, what you should think, and what you are worth, you are signaling that you have no internal compass. You are showing the world that your core is hollow. People may pity you, they may even offer you the superficial praise you crave, but they will not see you as a leader, a peer, or someone to be relied upon. True respect is reserved for those who stand on their own 2 feet, who have a set of values and principles that guide them, regardless of whether it wins them applause. This is perhaps the most central tenet of Stoic philosophy. Epictetus, a former slave who became one of the most revered Stoic teachers, was relentless on this point. He taught that seeking validation from others was a form of slavery. He famously said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." This is a radical idea. It means that the path to wisdom and self-respect requires you to completely detach your self-worth from the opinions of others. You must be willing to be misunderstood, to be criticized, to be unpopular, in the service of what you know to be right and true. The person who commands respect has cultivated an internal locus of control. Their validation comes from within. They judge themselves not by the applause of the audience, but by their adherence to their own code of conduct. Did I act with integrity? Did I do my best? Did I live up to my own principles? These are the questions that matter to them. This self-reliance gives them a profound sense of calm and stability. They are not swayed by flattery, nor are they crushed by criticism. They are like a mighty oak tree, deeply rooted in their own values, while the validation seeker is a tumbleweed, blown about by every passing breeze. To earn respect, you must first learn to respect yourself. Stop asking for permission to be who you are. Define your own values, live by them, and let your self-worth be a matter between you and your own conscience. The world respects those who have the courage to author their own definition of success. The fifth habit that guarantees a lack of respect is being close-minded and unteachable. This is the person who believes they have all the answers. They enter every conversation not to listen, but to wait for their turn to speak. They treat discussions as debates to be won, and new ideas are not opportunities for growth, but threats to their established worldview. They are quick to dismiss what they don't understand and surround themselves only with opinions that echo their own. Their knowledge has not made them wise, it has made them rigid. This intellectual arrogance is a fortress against wisdom, and it is profoundly disrespectable. It signals to everyone around you that you do not value their perspective, their experience, or their intelligence. It is the ultimate sign of a stagnant mind. People may be impressed by what you know for a short time, but they will never respect you if you are incapable of learning. True wisdom isn't found in having all the right answers, but in asking the right questions and maintaining a humble curiosity about the vastness of what you don't know. This intellectual rigidity is often mistaken for strength of conviction. In reality, it is a brittle shield protecting a fragile ego. The unteachable person has fused their identity with their opinions. Therefore, to challenge their opinion is to challenge their very being. They are terrified of being wrong because they have mistakenly equated being right with being worthy. A person of genuine intellectual strength, however, understands that their beliefs are tools, not treasures. They are meant to be tested, refined, and even discarded if a better tool comes along. This flexibility and openness is not a sign of weakness, but of profound confidence. It is the mark of a mind that is more committed to finding the truth than to being right. The Stoics revered wisdom as the chief virtue, and they understood that the path to it was paved with humility. Epictetus delivered a timeless and cutting piece of wisdom on this topic when he said, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." The person who commands respect embodies this principle. They are a perpetual student of life. They listen intently. They are not afraid to say, "I don't know," or "You've given me something to think about." This intellectual humility doesn't make them seem weak. It makes them seem confident and wise, a person who is still growing, and therefore a person worth listening to and respecting. Finally, the sixth and most visceral way to destroy respect is to lack self-control and react with unchecked emotion. The emotionally reactive person is a slave to their passions. A minor inconvenience triggers a burst of anger. A perceived slight results in days of simmering resentment. A piece of bad news sends them into a spiral of despair. They are a walking embodiment of chaos, and their emotional volatility makes them unpredictable and tiresome. People learn to walk on eggshells around them, carefully managing their words and actions to avoid setting them off. This is not respect, it is fear, and it is pity. Respect is given to those who demonstrate mastery, and the highest form of mastery is self-mastery. A person who cannot control their own emotions is broadcasting to the world that they are not in control of themselves. If you are easily provoked, easily angered, easily discouraged, you are showing that your inner fortress has no walls. Anyone or any event can simply walk in and take over. How can anyone trust you to lead a team, handle a crisis, or offer wise counsel if you cannot even manage your own internal state? They can't. Your emotional outbursts are seen as a sign of weakness, a lack of discipline, and a fundamental immaturity. The Stoics called this the discipline of assent. It is the practice of inserting a crucial pause between an external event and our reaction to it. An event happens, someone cuts you off in traffic, you receive a critical email, you hear a rumor. The undisciplined mind immediately assents to the initial impression. This is an outrage. This is terrible. This is an insult. And the emotional cascade begins. The disciplined Stoic mind, however, stops. It examines the impression and asks, is this event truly harmful, or is it my judgment about the event that is causing my distress? Marcus Aurelius filled his journal with reminders of this principle. He wrote, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. The person who commands respect embodies this principle. In the face of chaos, they are calm. In the face of provocation, they are poised. In the face of failure, they are resolute. They are not emotionless robots. They feel anger, fear, and sadness like anyone else. But they are not ruled by these feelings. They have learned to observe their emotions without becoming them. This emotional stability is magnetic. It creates an aura of strength and reliability that makes people feel safe and inspires deep, abiding respect. They are the calm in the storm, and in a turbulent world, there is nothing more respectable than that. Now, before you go, let me tell you a story that perfectly captures the essence of where true respect comes from. In ancient Greece, there lived a philosopher named Diogenes. He rejected all material possessions and lived a life of extreme simplicity, famously taking up residence in a large ceramic jar in the marketplace of Athens. He owned nothing but the clothes on his back and a wooden bowl, which he also threw away when he saw a child drinking water with his hands. He believed that virtue was better revealed in action than in theory. At the same time, the most powerful man in the known world was Alexander the Great. Having conquered nations and commanded vast armies, Alexander came to Athens and was intrigued by tales of this philosopher who wanted nothing. He went to the marketplace to seek him out, followed by his retinue of generals and courtiers. He found Diogenes resting in the morning sun. Alexander, the master of the world, stood before the man who owned nothing and said, I am Alexander the Great. Diogenes looked up at him and replied, I am Diogenes the Cynic. Impressed by his lack of awe, Alexander said, ask of me any boon you like. He was offering the philosopher anything his heart could desire, wealth, a palace, power, anything. Diogenes simply looked at the emperor, at his fine armor and his powerful guards, and said, stand out of my light. Alexander's followers were shocked, expecting their leader to be enraged by such a blatant dismissal. But Alexander was stunned into admiration. He turned to his men and said, truly, if I were not Alexander, I would wish to be Diogenes. This is the ultimate secret to commanding respect. It is the profound understanding that your worth is not determined by what you have, who you know, or what others think of you. The complainer believes their happiness is blocked by external things. The gossip tries to build themselves up by tearing others down. The unreliable person breaks their own character for momentary convenience. The validation seeker begs for scraps of approval from others. And the emotionally reactive person gives their power away to anyone who can provoke them. Diogenes had nothing, yet he had everything because he was the sole owner of his own soul. He needed nothing from the most powerful man in the world because he was already complete. To be truly respected, you must build this same inner kingdom. Cultivate your character, master your impulses, honor your word, and find your worth within. Do this, and you will find that you no longer need to seek respect, for it will radiate from you as warmth from a fire. You will not just be a person of strength, you will be a person of unshakable freedom, and there is nothing in this world more worthy of respect than that.